laying a finger inside of his nose, up the chimney he rose. Laying a finger inside of his nose, up the chimney he rose. Laying a finger inside of his nose, up the chimney he rose.
We're not remodeling. All we're doing is changing the ductwork and the heating. Yeah, part. And engineered plans like you've never seen before.
Oh yeah, at least you're all like in there, and then you get to move it along. I would think that you would.
No, the thing is that there was a lot, since the building's so old, there was a lot of wires and things going on that they had to unravel before they could take down the ductwork and all that stuff.
Which of course couldn't have been done.
How's it going, Scott?
Hey, how's it going?
Yes.
So we met before, so I just briefly. You're alone today, no one,
I didn't bring it.
Yes.
I usually go to Wi-Fi, but I download the package on my phone, put it on my desktop. But, in the city, I have Wi-Fi here, I don't know if Wi-Fi is good. Down in
How long do we have at least one from one of them?
yeah, you did. Yeah.
Take it, Scott. The board secretary is there, but
Yeah, I downloaded it before I get it.
John, how are you?
sure you have all my information, but if you want to try to do that, help you.
Still alive.
Still got it now.
I haven't read it now, it's still open. Yeah, but then I'm gonna go back.
Unless I get just one job, I understand it's pretty good.
Yes, well, the 30th of October, November 20th.
Just look, let's,
Right? Yeah. Mary, Mary. Thank you. Baby. I can go ahead and let you.
Yeah, 'cause I don't want to.
Got 2 hours to do it in the middle of the night.
It's virtual care, I think, or virtual.
April?
And we are live streaming.
April good? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it was probably pretty quiet for a while.
You got a property here for?
I'm just.
Oh, okay.
Good.
So there's no one else from the other cases?
I'm expecting that I've spoken to several other people, but
Is there anyone that has come into compliance that you guys know of?
one person's coming to.
What case is that?
Rosemary case, 524 Westford.
524. Okay, so number 4.
Number 4. putting it.
Okay,
And number 1 for old business is here.
okay. Yeah. I see it there. But the rest are not here.
So this is expectation. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, I can see some.
No.
So we can start the meeting.
Oh, at the city hall. Yeah, that took like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hello, okay.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can get, if you want to.
I know there's a bunch outside. Can I see it?
Mary, are we ready?
Ready.
Okay, so let's call this code enforcement board meeting to order. It's December 1st, 2020, and it's 7 o'clock, I think.
7:02.
7:02, okay. Call the order, call the roll, please.
Board Member Figueira?
Here.
Board Member Corey?
Here.
Board Member Martinez Reguera?
Here.
Board Member Bangston?
Here.
Chair Jimenez?
Here.
And just for the record, Board Member Diaz is not present.
Okay, let's get up and salute our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A motion to request the minutes of the last meeting, which,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting, which was
October the 6th.
October 6th, 2020.
I'll second it.
Okay. Board Member Figueira?
Aye.
Board Member Corey?
Aye.
Board Member Martinez Reguera?
Aye.
Board Member Bangston?
Aye.
Chair Jimenez?
I,
Okay. I vote. We can do the swearing in now. The swearing in?
yes, please.
Okay, anyone who intends on testifying, please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear?
Sorry, can you stop, because there's somebody in the back, if he's gonna testify, I need for him to stand up.
No.
Okay,
I'm just a concerned citizen about one of the,
you're just observing.
Okay, you're not gonna be able to say anything at all. We appreciate when the citizens come out. If you're gonna have any comment, you still need to swear yourself in. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You swear that the testimony you will give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. You have a seat.
Okay, we have the old business.
Yes, board. This old business is for your consideration, a rehearing of an order that was already done by this board, on September 1st, I believe, of 2020. I'll give you some of the information that I've gathered, because there was a deadline given by the order. So on September 1st of 2020, this code compliance board said the following motion. Board member Martinez Rivera moves to grant the owner 60 days to come into compliance with the maintenance of property, section 9313 of our municipal code, or a $250 daily fine will take into effect until it comes into compliance. Board member Curry seconded the motion, which passed 5-0 on a roll call vote. On September 15th, I mailed a copy of the signed enforcement order via certified and regular mail. The tracking number is displayed on the screen. I also sent it via email to Mr. Smothers, the attorney representing the property owners. On October 29, 2020, I received an email from Mr. Scott Smothers explaining that the property had come into compliance. On October 30th, I performed an inspection of the property, and you'll refer to the photos that I will be showing you. The property is still not in compliance. On November 2nd, I emailed Mr. Smothers and Mr. Lancaster, who is the attorney representing the leasee, photographs of the property, and I explained that it was not in compliance. Mr. Lancaster requested to have a conference call with myself and Mr. Smothers. Following day, on November 3rd, I had a phone conference with both Attorney Lancaster and Smothers. I explained that based on the state of the property at the time of inspection, the property was still in violation of section 9313 of the Miami Springs Municipal Code of Ordinances, and they did not comply with the enforcement order. They explained that they were not given enough time to do the repair areas like the roof that require a permit. I gave them the option to return in front of the board for a rehearing, but that the board might not hear the case again since an order was done. On November 10th, I received a call from Attorney Lancaster. He explained that the property had been further cleaned up. I explained that the due date was October 31st of 2020. On November 18th of 2020, I emailed Attorney Lancaster and Smothers an agenda to this code compliance board meeting, and I provided location and time, and I mailed the agenda via regular and certified mail. On November 20th, I updated the photographs. On December 1st, I updated the photographs. This is the state of the property on October 30th, 2020. This is an alleyway. By city ordinance, the maintenance of all city alleyways and property adjacent to the property needs to be also cleaned up. Going too fast, let me know, and I'll keep the photograph for longer. This is November 20th. This is after I was informed by Mr. Lancaster that the property had been cleaned up further. The paint, that section where the graffiti was painted over.
And nothing on the roof,
They can't because they need a permit.
right? So this graffiti that we see on the previous one, that's what was painted over?
No, that's still there after the due date, and this is still there now on December 1st.
Okay.
It's inside, you can't see it from the outside, but standing from the alleyway where I was standing from, you can see it. And standing on 36th Street, you can see it because all the silk lining along the fence has been removed or it's fallen off. So
Right.
through 36th Street, you can see it. That's still November 20th, just in case you can't see the date on top. This is today. That graffiti there that you see is on the inside. They did paint the outside, and that's been painted for some time now. I was really just taking a photograph of the state of the roof. But that graffiti you can't see from the street. Although this area had been cleaned on November 20th, when I re-inspected, today on December 1st, again, it's dirty. Unfortunately, properties like this that are not being taken care of, they attract more of this. And if it's not regularly being visited and maintained, it'll continue to accumulate debris and garbage. And on the sidewalk, somebody, I guess, dumped a box. When I got closer, the box was full of wood. I was gonna remove it, but I was not able to remove it. So I will be talking to Public Works tomorrow morning to see if they can pass by, because the sidewalk can't be blocked off like that.
Please make sure that gets documented.
The sign was painted over. And that's in there. And then Scott Smothers is here. He's representing the property owners. He's giving me power of attorneys for 2 out of the 4 property owners. I believe it's more than 50% of your claim, and he will be here to speak on their behalf if you decide to rehear or consider a extension of time for them to get that permit to start the remodeling process on the building.
Thank you, Officer. Madam Chair, you opening it up to the committee?
Yeah.
I'll remind everyone on here that we have a practice, and basically our policy has been not to rehear cases. We've done that numerous times. There's an order in place. There's a fine that has been placed. And Officer Quintero, you're saying that they are not in compliance?
They're not in
Correct,
compliance.
as of today. So I'll remind the board, and my recommendation would be, and if I have to make a motion, is to not rehear the case at this time. And that's actually a motion.
So basically, it's been 3 months since September 1st.
60 days were granted by the board to come into compliance.
Okay, are we allowed to?
Sure.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
It's open.
did you get any of your problem any further with your problem? I mean, were you have control of the property now?
Oh, we don't have any control of property.
Can you
If
come
we
to the,
could, yeah.
and state your name and your address, please, for the record?
Should I give you one?
Yes, please.
My name is Scott Smothers. I reside at 1303 Fox Tree Trail, Apopka, Florida, 32712. I'm an attorney on behalf of the owners of the property.
I believe it's the other mic, sir. Sorry about that.
I'm an attorney on behalf of the fee simple owners of the property. There are 6. They're all elderly. You may remember that 3 of them were with me last time I was here. To Mr. Bankston's question, no, we have no control of the property. That is the tenant. The tenant's attorney, Mr. Lancaster, is here. Thought it would be helpful that you would hear from him. But I can answer any other questions and tell you exactly why we requested that we come back before the board. I know there's an outstanding motion.
Yes. Do I have a second for that motion to not rehear the case? Okay.
Someone wants to second or has any input?
You want to rehear the matter?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. That was from Member Figueroa. Okay, so I have a motion to decline to hear the case, the rehearing for 4545 Northwest 36th Street. Board Member Figueroa?
Aye.
Board Member Corey?
Aye.
Board Member Martinez Aguirre?
Aye.
Board Member Bangston?
No, I mean, I want to rehear the case.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And Chair Jimenez?
Aye.
So I have 4 out of the 5 members that do not want to rehear.
3 out of 5
Three.
said no.
I only had 1 no. So it's 4.
You said aye. I said no.
Yeah.
So
So the motion passes to not rehear this case.
that's correct. And we'll remind the property owner that you are in control of your property. You have the judicial system. And when you come into compliance, you can come back and speak to Robert, and we'll you can always ask for a hearing to reduce the fine.
Is there a mechanism for determining what about it is not in compliance?
So you want to explain to them
Yes,
what their appeal process is directly to the circuit
The reason
court?
why the property is not in compliance, there's specific codes on 9313 that say that plainly, the property needs to be safe, clean, and presentable at all times, whether it's vacant, occupied, or whatever state it is. Furthermore, there's a specific section of the code that states that the property cannot be, like, any exterior portion of the property can be rusting or rusted, like this property is. Windows are broken, whether you put plywood on them or not, that doesn't constitute for them to be in compliance, it's still a broken window. The state of the parking lot is full of potholes, and there is still some debris that has been accumulated, and it's gonna continue to accumulate. Just after 10 days of me being there, this property has been cleaned further. In 10 days, there's more garbage, there's more debris, there's more just blight. And it's gonna continue to happen until the property is completely remodeled or demolished.
Is there an audio record of this that can be requested?
Yes.
Yes.
There will be, and this is being live streamed as well.
Thank you.
I have nothing to say.
Well, there's no hearing, so there's no,
The non-compliance of debris that I saw was on the exterior, not the interior.
There is interior debris.
you guys can discuss this afterwards. I mean, we're denying a rehearing, so you guys can discuss this after hours, so we can move on with our case, and we have a lot of cases today, so I'm gonna request you discuss that at another time.
If you send me a link to maybe a Dropbox, I
You have to
can
demolish
send
it.
all photographs that I have
Sit
taken.
here and tell them they can't.
If that's an option that you
I
have.
wanted to rehear the case, we knew it last time.
We have a
I
fine
mean, how
on
can
them,
they, if they can't get a permit,
okay?
you know, why can't we rehear the case? I mean, I don't, you know, you're just, basically, there's nothing they can do. They told us that.
They can't do anything with a roof.
Because of the situation it's in, that's what I'm saying, you know, what are they gonna do? Sit here and let $250 a day go, they're trying to do what they can do.
There has to be a way for the owner to say that the tenant is in
You know,
default
I'll vote
of
with
their,
you. Yeah, I'll vote with you, okay, I'm just trying to.
these are
help
very
the
experienced
situation.
lawyers,
I'm
Mr.
trying to
Mr.
help the
Lancaster
situation.
has been practicing forever. Your tenant is in default of a lease. Okay? Your tenant is in default of a lease. I'm not gonna try a case here, but you know very well that the tenant's in default of a lease. A judge should be able to rule in favor of the owner if the tenant is in default of a lease. You know that very well.
Well,
We're
again,
not
since-
rehearing the matter.
no, not
The
rehearing
ruling
it.
has been made and it is what it is.
That's fine, well, but since there's gonna be an audio recording, I'm assuming it's gonna be transcribed and presented to Judge Barzola in this case. I drove 4 hours to tell you folks exactly what's going on. I thought y'all would want to hear it, but I'm sad that nobody will listen. But we'll take it back up to the court. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I'll pass it on to Rosemary. We'll go in order since there's nobody else here.
There's no one here from any of the cases.
And our concerned citizen was here on what case?
Will that be run?
211 Deer Road.
Okay, let's listen to 211 Deer Run first.
Okay.
So our citizen can hear the matter and he can go home and enjoy the rest of his evening.
I agree.
Thank you.
Especially the big weather is outside.
Correct.
It'll be in page 103 of your packet, that'll start. It's rather lengthy because I have a lot of evidence, so.
Is this the property that had our car rental business running from it at one
At one
point?
point, yes. I managed to get that issue resolved with a lot of, it was a lot of work, but it didn't get any better after those tenants left.
I hear the music from this house from where I live.
But it's a noise thing, right?
It's noise, so we're not here to discuss short-term rentals,
Okay.
because that's not a violation.
That was one of the reasons I thought it was the area was about. Is there anything I can say about the property that may help you guys at all?
You
Did
can
you-
after we hear the case.
Okay,
Did you write a statement by chance?
I did.
What's your property address?
429 Deer Run is one, and 381 Deer Run is the other.
What's the other one?
381, and the other one's 429.
Yeah, 429, I got today.
And my wife put the one for 381, so we own both properties.
I have 429. I just couldn't include it in your packet because I received it today.
Or you'll let us know what it is. And
It's a petition that a lot of the residents nearby signed. It says the same thing. That statement is in there. He just submitted his today.
Okay,
But I do have two personalized statements that if you want to hear, I can read out.
Oh.
I included it in the packet as well. So although we're not discussing short-term rentals, the issue derives from short-term rentals and the poor management of the short-term rentals. Because the people who are coming in don't have, I guess, set guidelines to follow about noise, parking, garbage, etc. But we can bring that into the board because it's not against our code. Having a short-term.
I know we've discussed that before.
So this is case number 5 in the agenda, case number 2014-84, property address 211 Deer Run. It's a violation of chapter 99, which is our noise chapter, specifically 9903, which is a violation of that chapter. So on June 22nd, I received an anonymous phone complaint regarding the property and excessive noise, profanity, etc. The property seems to be rented from my production for a short-term period of time, where parties were being organized. So I contacted MSPD because I hadn't received any other complaints except this one time. So I wanted to see if after hours, while I was not working, our police department was receiving complaints. And as for all incidents involving the property. On June 23rd, MSPD sent me 7 separate incidents of noise, including the firing of a firearm between the months of April and June, and refer to the incidents below as displayed on the screen. The first incident, and I'm not gonna go through all of them, I did list them, but the first one, which was on April 2nd, and the second one, April 13th, both had to do with somebody discharging a firearm, and a neighbor hearing it, and MSPD reporting to the site, and impounding on both occasions 2 firearms. One on each date. And I did put the case number for MSPD where you can, and it is included in your packet. You can read the report fully, what our police department had to say. And there were several noise disturbances and one blockage of the sidewalk. During this time, I was attempting to contact the property owner, who was from, I believe, a news anchor. He left the property and moved to another state and disconnected his number, so I couldn't get a hold of him. The property address on the property appraisers website is the property here in Miami Springs. So obviously, any notices that were being sent were probably being discarded because I was not being contacted by anybody. So come October, I asked MSPD to send me an update on all the cases and incidents to date, and several other issues of noise started to happen. And if you read the incident reports, you can clearly see that different people are in the house those different dates. So it's not the tenant that is renting the property, it's the tenants of the original tenants, so there's subtenants who are renting the property. On August 21st, I spoke with the property owner again regarding the issue of noise disturbance. I sent them all police incidents, reports up to date. I sent them proof of it being on Airbnb, of it being listed on booking.com, on forrent.com. All the evidence because he said he needed evidence in order to remove the tenant from the property. On September 28th, I texted the property owner about the persistent issue, no response from him. On October 14th, I texted the property owner again, and he did reply. I translated he wrote in Spanish, so I translated what he said. He said, hello, Roberto, please issue all corresponding tickets to those people and send me a copy. This is the only way that I can remove them. As per my lawyer, with 3 tickets, I will be able to remove them. I had already programmed to issue tickets retroactively. I didn't issue them on the dates, but I had already listed them to issue. So I did issue 5 tickets. One for the first complaint of firing a firearm, and 4 others for noise. The last ticket I issued on September 26th was for $250. Based on our code, after the first offense of $100 being issued, I can issue $250 for each. I typically, as a code enforcement officer, don't issue tickets that high, and I allow the board to make that decision if it gets to that point. So that's why I'm here today, and hopefully you can issue any additional fines that could resolve the issue. The amounting ticket was $650. On November 17th, the property owner, Mr. Rivera, called me and explained that he was working and to remove the tenants from the property. I emailed him, again, all the previous evidence and additional evidence that had come to me. I explained that the residents should not be treated like this. It should not be, we pay a lot of taxes in the city. I say we because I also live in the city, and I wouldn't want to live in that kind of state. So I understand the property owners not only as a resident, but as a code enforcement officer. So I did make sure that he understood that. I emailed him copies of all the tickets that I had issued, and then he explained that he was in Texas and would not be able to attend the meeting. I recommended highly that he send somebody on his behalf to represent him. On November 18th, and he said he would. He said he would send his lawyer. Obviously, nobody is here to represent him. On November 18th, I issued summons to appear to this board hearing. For today's hearing, I said to be a regular certified mail via police. On November 20th, all 5 tickets were paid. I spoke to the cashier to see who had paid them. She said that it was not Mr. Olivares, so it wasn't Javier Olivares who is the property owner. So I'm assuming it must have been the tenant. So I would ask you to please refer to the 5 written statements by neighbors in your packet and proof of the property being rented through Airbnb and Booking.com as proof that this issue is because of this other underlying issue. So I also have 2 written statements that are more personalized that I would like to read for the record if you'd like.
They're in our package right here, isn't it?
They're in the packet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd like for me to read them.
Right. Why does it show Fred Succo owns this house still?
No, he doesn't own it. Property
So
owner's office.
it seems that maybe when I issued the tickets, I issued them to Javier Avedano Olivares.
Mhm.
I don't know if in the system somewhere it still shows Mr. Succo as the property owner.
Yeah.
But they're being billed to Mr. Olivares and they're being mailed to Mr. Olivares.
Okay, because on this document here dated November 20th, which was 10 days ago, it says owner information.
That's the screen from the finance department.
Yeah.
They need to change that,
Yeah,
because on the
they
property
need-
appraisal.
So that, I change it on my side when it comes to the case. So under the case, it's on Mr. Olivares' name. In order for that to be changed, they have to bring the warranty deed as property owners and make the change with the finance department.
Wow.
I'm sure they have a water bill running,
Mhm.
a water account.
Well, that's with Miami-Dade.
That's what Miami-Dade County, we don't do
Oh,
that.
Right, but hopefully it's with the owner and they're responsible for it.
I've explained to the owner, starting from the other case that you remember, to change the address to have a steady mailing address that he can receive correspondence.
Right, that's very dangerous for him not to have an address where he's located. He's gonna, this is.
And he's been very cooperative in the past. So it surprises me that somebody's not here representing him.
But this is the same owner though. I know we're not hearing the matter, but this is
Same owner.
still the same owner because Mr. Succo sold to him.
Yes,
That's the only deed that has.
He only lived there for about 6 months.
Okay.
So this is from the property owner at 285 Deer Run, Virginia Garcia. She says, Mr. Quintero, I'm writing to you since you're part of the code compliance department to express the hardship that we have been incurring due to the daily rentals at the property located at 211 Deer Run. The property is rented to different tenants that rent it as Airbnb daily and weekly with no restrictions or background checks. They have huge parties and we can hear the music for blocks very late at night. Additionally, we have heard very sharp and loud noises which some neighbors think it sounded like gunshots, which they were. There is many cars parked along the swale, which means many people are staying there. We have called the police many times, they have responded, but the silence only lasts for a while and they turn it back on. It is completely unacceptable that this landlord has rented this house to someone who has proceeded to rent it nightly. The noise is unbearable and we are concerned about the safety too, because there is no screening taking place on these tenants. We count on the compliance team to help resolve the situation. We are also writing a letter to the mayor and council to set an ordinance in Miami Springs against nightly rentals and residential loans. Thank you in advance for your attention to this matter. Would you like me to read the second statement?
Please, thank you.
Hello, Mr. Quintero. This is the property owner at 331 Deer Run. I no longer feel safe with the constant influx of questionable people at 211 Deer Run property. This has been taking place for several months now, even before the pandemic, and has only gotten worse. I walk daily for exercise, constantly going by this property. Sometimes I am alone and other times I am with my 6-year-old son. I have started to cross the street to avoid going by this house. Just on Sunday, November 15th, as I was turning the corner, I came right to 5 parked cars in the driveway and on the grass with individuals getting out, smoking a substance with a strong odor like marijuana. As I approached, I looked down and I started to feel unsafe. To avoid any type of interaction, I crossed the street to the golf course to continue my walk home. On a weekly basis, there are multiple cars parked outside, people going in and out of the house. They clearly do not live there. They usually arrive on Friday like clockwork. Sunday after they leave, there's litter in the area. The noise that comes from this property can be heard houses down. It not only projects a poor look for our street and the city as a whole with a constant flux of tenants that are not owners, but I no longer feel safe, especially knowing someone who was held up at gunpoint just a few homes down from ours. This also brings down our property values, does not attract the type of people we want living in Miami Springs, nor is it the type of house or people I want my 6-year-old son around. To preserve the safety of our community and the taxpayer and the tax-paying member of the community, I am asking the council to consider taking action to the property. Thank you for your consideration and support, Kelly Hernandez. And there are 6 other property neighbors who have signed the same petition statement.
If you could just state the name and their addresses so I can see where the areas, what houses.
So this is Javier and Lilia Diaz, who are located at 275 Deer Run. Tamara
And that,
Thomas-
by the way, that property is on the next block after Eastward Drive, by the way. So the noise is going all the way down to getting close to the Curtis Mansion.
Yeah, and the
Just so the board has an idea.
gentleman lives in the 300 block on 381.
That's correct. But that family that you just mentioned, they're literally very close, getting closer to the mansion. So the subject house of the
Yeah,
citation.
but that's what I'm saying, and he lives on 300 block, which
Correct.
is even closer to the mansion.
Correct.
Right.
So Tamara Thomas at 261 Deer Run, Raul Cruz Alvarez at 429 Deer Run, who is here today. Ivis Cruz Alvarez at 381 Deer Run. Virginia Garcia at 285 Deer Run.
That's one of them.
And Kelly Ray Hernandez, whose more personal statement I just read, at 331 Deer Run.
Okay. I can tell you that even off of Deer Run and getting into the other back streets, residents and property owners can hear the partying going on. And it's been horrible.
Sir, would you like to come up to the podium and give your name and your address, please, for the record?
Good evening, thank you for having me. My name is Raul Cruz Alvarez, 429 Deer Run and 381 Deer Run. You know, the statements that were just read are exactly what's happening. again, I've been a citizen a resident of Miami Springs for, God, going on 20 years now. When I first moved in here, my first city council meeting I went to, this is my second time living in Miami Springs. I said, God, am I glad to be moving back to Mayberry. This is Mayberry. This is a hometown thing. My granddaughter was born 3 weeks ago. And the only thing I can wait for is for me to walk down the street with her, with a little radio flyer that I just had bought for her. And the last thing I want is the same thing that happened 2 weeks ago on Saturday, that I get home from work. I get 2 SUVs with Wisconsin plates in the house at 429 looking for 211, but the people get out of the car to go inside my property to look at the street, the name. I was taking the bassinet out of the car and I moved to the other house. And I see the same car rolling around again. So I followed them, and sure as heck, they get down at 211. An hour later, I'm walking by with my wife, and there they are, 4 guys sitting outside smoking pot. Look, we all get it, we all know it, but not on my street, not on my watch. It's ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, you get shots being fired, and now we got somebody got, assaulted the other day and got pistol whipped right across the street. We don't know if it's them. I'm not blaming them or not doing that. Daily rentals or weekend rentals in a residential area like Miami Springs should not be. I should not be afraid of having my wife walking on the street, or myself walking on the street and get shot because somebody's having a party and the girls inside didn't get paid. That's just not right, not here, not anywhere. So, I appreciate what you guys have done. I've seen the amount of citations. I've talked to the police. I've seen them writing it up. We really do have to get city council involved in doing some sort of ordinance, but I am concerned. And what's going to happen is some unfortunate incident's going to happen, which somebody's going to pull out a gun, and somebody else, a citizen, may have a gun. And somebody's gonna end up in jail.
Or dead.
Or dead because of this. So we appreciate what you guys can do, and whatever you can do, you can count on the citizens, especially all the residents of Deer Run. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, I am aware that the city council is working on an ordinance. And I believe on December 14th on their agenda, they may discuss it. So I encourage you and your neighbors to attend, call in, and give your input. I think it would be extremely helpful.
I appreciate it. We are trying to follow it as best we can. So like I said, I wanted other people to come, but
remember December 14th, very important.
We'll be there. Thank you again. Good evening.
Thank you. Good night.
So what are our options? What can we do? Can we do a daily fine? What is it? What's the, I don't know, the city
I think we
attorney?
give tickets for every single incident.
Right. Oh, I know this property inside out. It's been crazy.
We can, there are several incidents that we can issue tickets for. If you wanna.
I mean, legally, which incidents can we, because.
I can only ticket them with the proof that I have of the violation through police. I don't know regarding, this board, what they can present, but it's not a violation that happens, that it's constantly happening.
So, I think, so we have the violation of the noise ordinance.
Correct.
Which you're referring to is just, it's a spot fine.
Yeah.
It's like a parking ticket. They were tagged with a ticket because of the noise violation. Originally, it was handled. And I assume it's going to be affirmed, or I don't know how much was the amount of the citation?
So I did 4 of $100, and the last one was $250.
And they won't.
They paid it with a credit card.
So
Right, it's more profitable for them to pay these fines than to keep renting the property.
So the hearing today is just to inform the board of it?
Well, yeah, at this point, yeah.
Okay.
Is there any action that we can take?
That's the thing. I thought it's going to council,
Yeah.
he says.
At the time when I
What can we do?
summoned them, the tickets weren't paid. So,
They are in violation of the code.
But they neither contested I don't think they requested an appeal, they could.
They did it, they paid the.
No, they paid the $650 and it's,
So they later paid it, so that's, so, there's no.
I issued the summons on the 18th and on the 20th they paid.
But we have cases where they pay the tickets all the time, and we still fine them.
But the
Yeah,
violation is this.
those are recurring violations. It's like the grass is still overgrown.
Right.
So this is a little bit, this is a different, completely different violation. The noise is very tricky in the sense that it might be there, it might not. I mean,
Exactly.
like the gentleman just testified, it's dependent on the tenant. They're not gonna hit him with a per diem fine to stop the noise, because just there's no way, it's like hitting a moving target, it's never gonna happen. Yeah, so I think that as far as noise goes, I think code has exhausted its remedy in this respect as far as code enforcement. But there are other violations which perhaps could be brought up.
parking of the cars.
Parking of the
on top
cars,
the sidewalk, but that, you have to catch them right there.
I drove by the property every time I'm around, I have not seen.
They do it. It's just a matter of being caught.
Well, the thing is that I'm here Monday through Friday.
Right.
8 AM to 4:45 PM.
Right.
And the time that this happened.
Yeah, it's usually the Saturday evening.
It's on the weekends.
It's on the weekends, because I
When
see
it's
it.
rented out.
And the police department, I've been in contact with them, they have, issued tickets. Just on the 30th of November, I spoke with the chief emailed us, and there hadn't been any,
Complaints.
incidents
Mhm.
since the previous Wednesday of November 30th. So I don't know if there was a change there, or if it's gotten, a little better. I know the property owner wants them out, so that's just a matter of when
The property owner wants them out?
the tenant.
Well, if he has a proper lease, some leases have, you cannot do X, Y, Z, and if it is, you're in default, and you can get out, you can evict the tenant.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't know why it's taking so long, because I've been calling the property owner. for so long.
standard leases always say you have to comply with the rules and regulations of the city, county. I mean, it's a standard line in every lease. So, I mean, but guess what? The owner is benefiting too. He's not here, he's getting rental income on time every month. As we see, the tenant is paying all of the tickets immediately.
Yeah.
So
But he's,
if there's nothing, if the city attorney says there's nothing we can do so far as a fine on any of these, they've been paid.
the only way that that will have an impact is, on the Airbnb of
Not being able to operate.
exactly. That's the only way, and there's a lot of those in Miami Springs.
Is that the ordinance? There's an ordinance up for consideration on December 14th? Is that a short-term rental ordinance?
I don't think it's an ordinance
They're
coming up.
discussing it.
They're probably discussion.
The first reading,
Is it?
just for transparency, I've had issues on my block with Airbnb. Okay, nothing near to what was discussed here tonight. But I have approached the city council on my own about this issue. And we already had a conversation on the record during the last, maybe prior to the last hearing, meeting, city council meeting. And my understanding is that on December 14th, an ordinance, a first reading for an ordinance will be discussed.
Maybe we need to show
So,
up and,
so I think that's, where all this type of input will be helpful to help the city council and the mayor make a decision and help others, guide them as to what is it that they need to look for those,
the 14th, which is a Monday.
We could explore our legal remedies. We could have an internal discussion and kind of take a broad look at what's going on and what areas, what grounds we have to enforce, how far we can go. So I think that's what will stem from this hearing.
Can we put this hearing, and reset it again for,
You want an update?
even just, we get an update from the city attorney to see what happens on December the 14th, maybe? With
Sure,
the reading, I mean, I know you guys are gonna be involved in it, you have to, as city attorney.
Well,
Yes.
they will, but not them.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, the city attorney will.
Yeah.
We can bring this back as old business for an update.
Bring it back as old business,
On the
I
next
put it on
one.
my calendar.
Or perhaps there'll be another violation, we'll be there anyway.
Exactly. Put it on the calendar again, I suggest.
And I've been monitoring the property, police have been monitoring the property.
Yeah, it's happening. It's just, it's a joke. And it's saying, I didn't know about the gun, things, but I have heard popping sounds, so. Now that you've mentioned that, that has been happening, so.
There's been a lot of talk in next door and stuff.
I figured the board was never gonna do anything, but it's good to have this on the record. At the time of when I sent the notice, they were not in compliance with tickets being paid, although they did pay them, but it's good that we had this discussion. Because it's a severe problem for the neighborhood.
Well, the bringing back of the matter for the next hearing is twofold, to get an update on what happens in the council and for the city attorney to make sure that there's nothing we can do. I just want to make sure
I'll explore,
for you to confirm that.
but, so,
Two things.
yeah, but, so that there's no conflict of interest and no, appearance of impropriety or biasness, that request would be from the city, just to clarify for the record. We're exploring our legal remedies at the request of the city. not the board.
I don't care how you want to formulate that, but I'm asking for an update on the council meeting, and I want to make sure, I want to be advised, code enforcement, the board wants to be advised as to what our legal remedies are so far as this property being a nuisance, violating the noise ordinance. And if you have to consult the city attorney for that, then so be it.
Okay, so I can set that as a consensus of the board, since it's not a motion, if we can all just agree, we can all agree to just bring this back in January. Our January meeting is scheduled for January the 5th. I don't know if it will be here or back in City Hall, but I will update you guys. And I have the consensus to bring this case back in January the 5th for an update of the council meeting in regards to the short-term rentals that is happening on December the 14th, and to see if there's any new violations that you guys can do something about.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Have you had, as code enforcement, any other complaints from other addresses?
For Airbnb,
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, he lives.
I've had them, but it's never become a nuisance, and it's not something, it's not violation of the code, so there's nothing I can cite them for. I have cited one in particular about them possibly have reconfiguring the interior of the home, which would be a violation, because you can close up a section of the home and then rent it. And I went inside and I did a full inspection and everything connected, and there was no, sneaky entrances to the side, so I couldn't do anything. But no, it hasn't, it's not like I have an abundance of those types of complaints,
Mhm.
but it has been an issue in the last.
So you would say that this 211 is top of the,
Yeah,
top of the
this is
list.
just unfounded,
Yeah.
it's pretty, it's very different from any other
Yeah.
complaints I've received. The people that are being attracted and who are renting are very, they've taken it to another level.
okay.
Did you want now to go in order?
Yep, I think so.
Good evening. Have case number 20-2122 for 214 Glendale Drive, code section 15104, application for building permit. So on September the 25th, while inspecting a public works complaint regarding construction debris, I observed a new wood fence installation without permit. And on September the 27th, I went ahead and prepared the $100 ticket for repeat offender. I mailed it out ready to answer the 5 return receipt.
Page 33.
Sorry. On October the 16th, 2020, the $100 ticket was paid via credit card. On November the 20th, there was no permit. Summons was given to police for service. It was also mailed regular and certified return receipt. As of today, there is still no permit for the fence. So this was all the debris that Public Works called me about. And I saw that there was a new fence installed. And just an old photo from July showing the old fence, a section of the old fence. I have talked to him, he's aware, he just hasn't come to full affirmative. Here we are.
Well, we have to make a motion to, put a fine because this is getting ridiculous that nobody shows up when they're have these cases. So she has another case. The second case is the same address.
Yes,
That's,
and that's actually the third case for them.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. They had interior alterations first. That's why this is a repeat violation. For what we have.
Can we consider this a repeat violator?
yes, this is the third case.
Yeah, we brought them already.
Yes, we did.
Yes, I believe they start.
I think we set a fine on that one too.
Yeah.
We had pictures
Getting
of
ready
the
to, yeah.
improvements that were done and everything.
Oh, no, we did do that already. Yeah. They are already on the daily plan.
Right, so we can go
Okay.
up to $250 a day if we want.
If it's a repeat, it would be, it's, first time is 250, repeat is up to 500.
500, up to. And I want to know where those numbers are written down.
Chapter 160.
Or
If you want the statute or the ordinance?
No, I want our city ordinance that has that.
Oh, okay. So. we
So it
can-
is in an ordinance specifically.
Yes.
Okay,
It's up to 500
daily.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that we can
It's a ridiculous amount. because
do a motion, we can actually start a fine as of today. These people have had notice, they're repeat violators,
And they don't
getting
show
a fence
up.
permit is not that difficult.
Rosemary, they talk to you directly and they know that
They
they need a permit.
Yeah, 'cause they
There's-
had received the summons.
Okay, and they understand English and all that, they
Yeah, the
understand.
first time they didn't come, because they were saying they had COVID.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember now.
But they still haven't pulled a permit for that.
Okay.
And they even spoke to Ulysses, the building official,
Uh-huh.
about, not this case, but the other case that I'm gonna bring up.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to do a motion,
We got it.
1, 2, 3.
A motion here. This is a motion for the first case, and then we'll hear the second case for the same people.
Right.
Officially, this is their second case, and then the next case will really be their third case that they have on the system.
Okay, are you gonna put through a motion, please?
Do a motion down here, or John?
Mr. Baxton.
This is the second time we're going to, and we can go up to $500.
We can go up to $500 because it's not the first time. They're repeat offenders. And a daily fine, we can start that already. Did you guys have those pictures from July, or are those just pictures that you guys take and have already?
Yeah,
Okay,
On
particular
traditional
one, yes.
situation for the,
Traditionally, in these situations, we usually give them time to pull a permit, to get a permit, not necessarily to close out the permit, but to get a permit. And we've given people, depending on the circumstances, or the situation, anywhere from days to
30
to
days.
months, maybe 30 days to our next meeting. However, being that this is a repeat violator, we can actually put a fine starting today because they're not even here. And until they come into,
This ticket was issued September 27th,
right, it goes back.
so.
So we can even go retro if we wanted to, but
And we had given them already time for them to get the permit,
Right.
obviously.
I know.
And
Yes.
that hasn't happened.
they, that's why, maybe a fine starting today.
Definitely a
Would be
fine starting
warranted.
today.
It'll just be a fine starting today. We don't even have to say, I mean, when they come into compliance, they come into compliance. And the fine will stop.
Right, once they pull the permit and finalize the permit. However you want to do it. I don't close the case until the permit is finalized.
Traditionally, the fees have stopped once the permit is issued.
Correct, that's what our language usually is, once they issue the permit.
John,
Yes, ma'am.
any thoughts?
Guidance.
So I'll motion to charge $250 a day until they come into compliance.
We're not gonna give them any time to get a permit?
I believe we have already given them time,
Okay.
correct?
Right.
And we have asked them to attend this meeting twice, and twice they have not showed up.
Right.
Okay, so I have a motion.
Now, what is compliance?
When is,
What is
when do you start the?
Today.
Today.
Starting today,
Mm-hmm.
So starting today,
compliance would be when they pull the permit.
an issue permit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to start today, and just for the record, today is December 1st again.
Right.
A daily fine of $250 until they obtain an issued permit for the permit. Do I have a second?
I'm sorry.
Okay, Board Member Figueira,
Aye.
Board Member Corey,
Aye.
Board Member Martinez Legato,
Aye.
Board Member Bangston,
No.
Chair Jimenez.
Aye.
Okay, it passes.
People don't show up, they don't.
Next case starts on what page?
52.
The next one.
You wanna write them down?
No.
You wanna write the rest down? I have it written down here, Rosemary.
The what now?
And the page number.
Yeah, go ahead, 52, it's the second one.
For case number 252, for case 3, it's page 68,
Mm-hmm.
case 4, page 84.
But that one you said was in compliance.
Yeah, back to 5.
Okay.
Page 5 we discussed already. Page 5, yeah, case 6 is page 171. And case 7, 181,
And case 5 was page 133,
103.
103?
Yeah. Rosemary took the time to do it today. Others take all the time.
Okay, Rosemary, so now we got second case for the same people.
Case number 21-67, again for 214 Glendale Drive, code section 15104, application for building permits. So on October the 8th, as per complaint, I observed the ceiling of window and door on the west side of the property without a permit. Will mail a ticket for repeat violation. There was a permit 20-598 that was issued to replace 8 windows and 1 door to impact, but it was all in the front of the house. No plans for ceiling, any windows, and this is a level 2 alteration. So on October the 8th, I went ahead and prepared the $100 ticket, and it was mailed via regular and certified return receipt. As of October the 15th, no contact and no permit. I did make contact with them after this. Well, actually, they spoke to you, deceased. And on November the 20th, A summons to appear was given to police for service to the homeowner. I also mailed regular and certified return receipt. So as of today, still no permit.
What's a level 2 alteration? Is that like a higher,
Right,
So level 1 is remove and replace.
okay,
Level 2 is when you modify what's existing, there's a toilet here, now you're gonna put it over there.
okay,
Level 3 would be an addition.
okay.
Okay, so we got a permit for 8 windows.
yes,
It was
eight.
all in the
One in
front.
the house, and it's all in the front, there was nothing for the side, and nothing for sealing up the window.
Okay, so he blocked in the windows.
They
The
blocked
other-
in windows and doors.
The other one, some other windows.
Yes, correct.
Do we have other pictures? or-
Yeah, this is on the sign here.
So that's what you're calling sealing the window.
Right. They sealed the door and the window. And here's the finished product. And so then here is a photo that was taken in March 2014 that shows that door. So it was this door and this window here that was sealed up. And this one remains. And here's just another photo from May 2018 showing the same thing. Property appraiser, just another angle. So again, they spoke with Ulysses, and Ulysses told him that he needed a permit. He said he had not done that. So we showed him proof that it had been done. So he stayed quiet. And we're still waiting for him to pull his permit.
Okay, that was the same thing.
We need a motion, and I'm gonna recommend that if we issue a daily fine, that it start today. There's no excuse for all of this.
Well, they just ignore it, they continue to ignore.
This ticket was issued October the 8th.
You said they sealed up a door.
Yes.
Do they still have another door? Like, are they in
Well, this is on the
violation of even other building codes, like not having 2 exits or anything like that?
As far as we know, right now, no. Because this is on the side of the house,
Okay.
so.
Okay, board, John,
So
to make
George?
a motion.
You all do a good job.
No,
You voted against everything that we've done.
job. It's just putting up with these things that are happening that nobody takes care of, and this is a third
And
case.
and
for
they're
these
not
people.
showing up.
Yeah.
On top of that,
Yeah. they're
you
not
can't be
showing up.
upset at daily fines for people not
Yeah.
even putting the effort to show up.
These are the
That
ones
makes
that
no
had
sense.
COVID last time. Now they,
And this is their 3rd open case. If I make a motion, it's not gonna be pretty.
well, at the end, we have to hear them out if they show up.
When they show up and ask for a lowering of the fine, then that's when they show up. And that's the only thing that gets their attention. Just like with case number 1. When they see that fine adding up, they're gonna do something about the property.
Hopefully.
Then they need to demolish it.
Did they get a monthly update on what their fine is running on?
Did we get an update?
I didn't tabulate it, although I did, I mean, if you read the order, it doesn't matter.
Right, the order is put into the public record. If they try to do anything with the house, sell it, get another mortgage, refinance or whatever, that shows up.
Well, the reason I asked is because you can put a daily fine, but if they have no idea they got a daily fine.
Well, they know it's gonna be recorded, an order's gonna be recorded.
It was
in public
something
record.
like, I mean, I didn't record it, but I did send it to them, and it'll be recorded now.
They will get a copy of that recorded document.
Yes.
So we do notify them.
Oh, yes.
We already notified them with the order, it just hasn't been recorded because they had time to comply.
Right.
Now that they failed to comply, we'll record it with the county, and that'll be a lien. And it'll be a lien until it's satisfied by me, or I'm not working here anymore, and whoever.
Right, well, case number one that we just heard, that is gonna be recorded. As soon as that order is prepared and signed by the
It'll be
chairperson,
given
that's gonna start
for
immediately.
recording for tomorrow. It'll be.
So that's a little different.
They get that one notice, that's it.
That's it, we're not gonna give
And
up.
here, I mean, they get the notice, and then if they come,
Right, they get the notice up here, and
Yeah.
then they'll get the notice of the fine, and that's it.
which I mailed, regular and certified, and I emailed it.
They're only
They know.
entitled to get whatever order the board issues is what they get. They get it filed.
So it doesn't like multiply, like every month you'll send them a reminder.
No,
no.
One notice.
They
and
shouldn't.
The
I don't,
reminder that
we
they're
would-
gonna get is they're gonna get an invoice from finance every time I input the amount, after 30 days, after 60 days, they're gonna get an invoice for that.
Okay, so they will get something as you update.
Yes, as time goes by and we update the amount, they'll get an invoice for the difference every time that we add the fund.
Okay.
If they update their address, because if they don't have an address, like, these people, case number one, the address is for the tenant. So the property owners aren't getting any of my notices. That's why I emailed it to them. Out of courtesy.
Okay, we're gonna get a motion on the second case. Maybe here next time. At least. At least.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that, we issue a fine starting today at $300 a day until they come into compliance and pull the permits for the sealing up of the windows and the doors.
I want to second that motion.
So I have a motion to start a fine today, December the 1st, at $300 a day until they get an issue permit for the sealing of the window and door. Board Member Figueira,
You said 200 a day?
300.
Huh?
300 a day.
Three?
Board Member Corey,
Aye.
Board Member Martinez Figueira,
Aye.
Board Member Bankston,
No.
Chair Jimenez.
Aye.
Passed.
John, what is it that you want? What number do you want? You're not making any comments, you're voting against everything.
Too much money.
They're gonna come back and ask for forgiveness anyway.
We got them
Hey, listen,
doing it for nothing.
okay, fine. We want them to come in compliance. All we're doing is putting the money out there. You gotta do what you want. You're asking me, I'm answering it. Okay, it's just impossible for them to get a permit in a week. Okay, it's $1,500. This one's more than that. It's, you know, they can't get a permit that fast. I mean, we're just throwing numbers out there that, you know, it's like, okay, I don't think it's realistic to do
We're
They
trying to
didn't,
get
they didn't hear about this today.
it. Fine, we don't.
They heard about it in September.
You can give them a week, wait, listen, you made the motion, it passed, you got 4-1. Okay? I didn't argue with you. You want to argue with me, why I'd say no.
No, we're not
You
arguing.
don't give them time. We've done this at other meetings. I'd say, yeah, give them time. Why give them time? You try to be realistic and get them to come in here, okay, it's gonna be $250. You got 7 days to start, and to get their attention. They can't get the permit in 7 days anyhow.
I like that question. When was the first violation for the first?
Okay, so, but that's fine. That's the way you want to do it. I don't agree with it. Okay?
I'm trying to explain why
Listen, I don't argue with you all the time. I mean, I don't disagree all the time. Just
No.
tonight I disagree. It's the things that we're getting in a pattern of this high money, just to make a statement.
Exactly.
When we're trying to get people to comply, we're not trying to make money.
Okay.
We're not doing it for the money. We're trying to get them, their attention to come in here.
You asked, okay, listen, you asked me a question, I answered.
Well, you're,
Okay, I didn't ask you why you going so high. I didn't ask you why don't you give them 7 days.
so far as I'm concerned, for me, my personal,
Listen,
you characterized why I set the number so high. It's not because I want the money. I
Okay.
want their attention.
you do what you want.
But you
Okay, do what you want, How
mischaracterized,
you want to run it.
but I'm gonna correct your mischaracterization of me. I'm doing it to get their attention, not because of the money.
Don't get on me because when I go along, it's all good.
No, it's
No,
not.
no,
No. We look to
No.
you for construction things all the time, so no.
I like to say something. In my defense,
I'm not here
why
for
I
the
made
money.
the motion, but you know how I feel when people are summoned and they don't show up here. If they would have showed up here, it would have been a different story. We would have asked them, how long would it take you to get the permit?
Kind of
And we would
third
have given them a
case.
chance.
That's fine.
But since they don't show up, how do you expect them to get to get their attention?
I didn't say anything, y'all questioned me. I didn't say anything.
No, I'm just saying, exactly, I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying why I made that motion at $300 a day, because they don't show up. If they would have showed up, we would have gave them time. We would have asked them, like we always do when somebody shows up, how much time do you need to get a permit? 60 days? Okay, I'll give you 60 days. After the 60 days, you're fine start. But they don't even show up. That to me is disrespectful,
It is.
okay? And that's why I put it at $300 a day.
Don't disagree with you. I just disagree with the money, okay?
It's not about the money.
They're gonna come
It's to
in
get their
there for a
attention.
reduction of fine anyway. So what
Okay.
difference does it make?
We're-
What difference does it make if we can put it $1,000, $500? They're gonna come for a reduction of fine, and we're gonna give it to them.
Cross that bridge when we get to it.
I think we've given a lot of reductions.
Well, you know what? Maybe we need to reconsider that too as a board, on a case-by-case basis. Can we move on to the next case?
Did somebody second that?
I
Yes,
seconded,
Yeah.
Okay,
and we voted for the plan passed.
all right, case number 3. I know this one very well.
case number 21-215, 279 Court and Drive, code section 93-13, for the property. So on November the 2nd, I observed extremely overgrown grass. On November the 3rd, I posted the $100 ticket for a repeat violation, with no regular and certified return receipt. On November the 20th, summons to appear was given to police for service to homeowner. It was also mailed regular and certified return receipt. Now, I did get these tickets returned and summons returned. For some reason, return to sender, not deliverable as addressed, and unable to forward.
So that means they've moved on.
Why? Yeah, I don't know why it says that though. Because it looks to me like the property's vacant. I don't know.
Is it for sale?
No? And those vehicles are still there. I don't know if you remember,
Maybe
those
they-
inoperable vehicles there on a daily farm.
Remember that he was
What
an
happened to the
engineer or
building?
something?
That thing that he was, it's still back there too. You'll see,
So all the rest of his fines are still running.
yes. All those tickets are still, they're on a daily
They don't
farm.
care.
Yeah. So, I don't know why it got returned, because normally when it's vacant, it says vacant. For whatever reason, I did post the ticket at the property though.
And have you gone back to check it's still there?
No, it's not there. So I don't know if somebody else removed it or if it flew away, I don't know.
How about with the post office that you have a return to sender? Do they have a change of address?
They wouldn't, I would think that they would just notify us, or they would just send it on to the new address. But that's exactly what it said on there, which I thought was odd. But, I mean, it's crazy. See, there's a copy of the ticket that I posted. Here's the
Wow,
vehicle, I mean, it's really bad in the back, as you can see.
it could be their neighbor.
There's that, whatever it is that he started working and he's just left it there, there's a tree growing out of it. There's that second vehicle, that's still there.
So he never removed some of the items that we fined him for in the beginning?
No.
Okay. So repeat violator,
Well, right now it's for the grass. It's just crazy.
looks like they're not.
Have they been cutting it before?
They have been,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know what happened.
There's been more.
Yeah, there's two,
What'd you say, Jeff?
two lawnmowers.
Well, yeah, I see the writer and it looks pretty, I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't look old.
yeah, there was, two. Here's the one. There's one here.
Shall we give him 10 days to comply too? Before putting a fine?
So this was today's photo.
You said you've seen traffic? You've seen people like cars there,
No,
parked, no?
no, no,
She's talking about
these
the
have
ones
been
in
there
the back.
Oh, okay.
forever.
No, those I know have been
Yeah,
there.
those have been there.
She
No, I
hasn't
haven't
seen it.
seen anybody. So I'm bringing it here today, whatever all side, but I'm also gonna call Public Works
Mhm.
to have them cut that grass.
And we're documenting that on the property so we can recover that as well.
Yeah.
And do we have to say that in our orders or once they, because I want to make sure that we recover that.
Well, they do
We don't do
recover,
the public works, make sure to,
they get that money.
we don't charge it.
Yeah.
Well, they already have two pending things that have been,
Correct.
right?
Yes,
This would be the third.
correct.
Were the other ones also maintenance of property or
No.
were without permit?
We have one work without permit, and then we have one for the vehicles.
So this
The vehicles that are still there.
would not be a repeat violator for the same.
No, but I issued tickets to them in the past.
And the
for-
shed that they had, remember the shed that
Yeah,
they
they
had?
removed it, and then they started doing
And then he had a metal, a steel
then he
container.
had
that thing there.
Our platform
No,
thing.
it actually is, let me, the violator, a repeat violation is a lady in the code, this is record 32-61. Repeat violation is a violation of a provision of the city code by a person who has been previously found by the code compliance board to have violated or has admitted violating the same city code provision within 5 years prior to the violation, notwithstanding that the violation occurs at different locations.
So it goes to
So
the
they're
person,
different codes.
Same bad guy, different places,
right?
same.
It's like, it goes with the person. If that person owned multiple properties in Miami Springs and was a repeat violator, we can actually apply that up to $500.
Yeah. but
Same
that's
code,
not
right,
the
same
case.
violation, same person.
So this would be a first-time offender for this, it would be a
Even
first-time
though I
offender for this
ticketed
case.
him in the past
needs to be-
for grass,
The board.
The
For
board-
different, yeah, but you ticketed him for different violations.
no, but for grass also.
No,
It just never made it to the board.
If it's the same person,
Yeah.
It is
same
the same.
violation,
But it should be found guilty by the board, right, not the code officer.
well, the code officer can never find anybody guilty. That's a
no,
due
the
process
ticket
violation.
and the,
If
you're
you
already
issue them
ticketing
a
them.
ticket,
Yeah,
and
but
if
they
you issue
don't
them a
come
ticket
that-
and
that
they fail to
yard
appeal,
not
it's a
being-
default, right?
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean they're not an offender.
It doesn't matter, but it does not come to
No.
us before.
But
They
it-
didn't
but
pay
they
it,
never
they
appealed
come
it,
because
so
of
they
grass.
need, it's an admission of guilt, right?
No, they didn't pay it.
No, what I'm saying is that they failed to appeal.
Oh, yeah, they failed to appeal, yes.
So,
But it never made it to the board.
It never made it to the board for
You
the,
could come to the
for the
board.
grass. But I've had this issue with them before, and I've issued them tickets before.
there's really nothing to do with it, I mean, unless, if it's the ticket, the citation. If they fail to appeal it, you bring it to the board, to get an order affirming it, basically a default order. And, that's it.
But what we're trying to see is that we can only do up to 250, because the first time
Yes,
the board is gonna find it guilty.
right.
Of this specific section.
So if they were to come again, they were to comply and then come again for the same issue, then the board can do up to 500.
Exactly.
This is the second time.
Exactly, yeah.
So
Even
you're-
though there could be no, if you cite them at different times, for failure to cut the grass, for example, you bring it all to the board at the same day, the first case is 250, that's 500.
Well, with the grass, like, I just had Public Works cut it.
Yeah.
And then
So
they kept
what's
it up.
What's the limit that we can do today?
Up to 250.
250. All right, are we ready to do a motion? Do we need any other discussion? John, do you need
They
any other
can't even,
discussion?
they can't even get in touch with the people. So it's another running, and I'm sure that he knows that he has the other ones running.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening to him.
Maybe he's
Before,
out
I
of the
would
country.
see like the wife and the kids in the back every so often, but I haven't seen anybody there for a while. I don't know,
Maybe he went back to his country,
maybe,
he couldn't come back from COVID or something.
yeah, maybe.
Well, if he left the country, he will have a problem to be able to come back. There's a lot of countries that have been shut down. So,
Is there any way to find out if the light and water bills and all that are being paid on the property? That would be an indication that, they left the country and
speak for the light, you won't be able to find out. So I do work for, yeah. Okay.
Well, you can look at the meter and if it's running, electricity's on.
Yeah, but we can't leave the apartment.
We can only go to the front door. These photos are taken from the alley.
So that's the building there.
Well, it's like a platform, John.
Oh, that's that thing, that there was a shed there.
The
they
thing that he was
moved it,
building.
And it looks like he was starting
Those
to
are the
build a new
walls.
one.
The floors there, those are the walls all stacked up. Like 3 of them.
Do you know what we fined them on the last time? Do we have a daily fine money? Do you know what it is on the previous case? We find them on a daily basis?
Yeah, he's on a daily fine,
I know.
yes,
You know,
but I don't remember the amount.
The taxes were paid for this year. On November 27th, they paid their taxes.
Well, that could have been the mortgage though.
Oh, it could be.
Now the bank could pay it. Well, we got a,
The list of mortgage holders.
I would give them to the beginning of the new year, see when it pops up.
Code enforcement, as long as you have public works going on, you're gonna have public works going on.
Yes, no, I have to, it's crazy.
That brings mice and
They're gonna
roaches.
escrow account. They're gonna escrow account for Regis mortgage.
Yeah, that's the mortgage holder.
Mhm. so that's who paid the taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a few.
Yeah. I don't know what can we do here, because it's not concerned about the other two.
There's no contact whatsoever.
And if the city goes ahead and cuts the grass, they're gonna get their money for that cutting of the grass, so.
Just to give you, I know you asked, we heard this case back in January of 2019, and they are on a $50 daily fine for the vehicle.
Yeah, I think it was each vehicle.
And actually, it was 50 for the first case and 150 for the second case, because it was 2 separate cases.
Mhm.
So they are on, together, they're on a $200 fine per day
And that's still
since
running.
January.
That's still running.
200 a day for 400.
And it's
Something
been
day.
going on since January 2019.
On that, I'm looking up the name, let's see. Marty Stanley, they actually have a divorce proceeding or some type of domestic, case going on as of 11/16/2020. So they're definitely here.
Oh, wow.
So there's no reason for them not to be here. One or the other property owner.
No, maybe that's why you don't see the family, because they're getting a divorce.
Does anybody want to make a motion? John, do you want to make a motion?
What are we making a motion on if the city's gonna go? Well,
I have to have the city go take care of this stuff.
we're allowed to double dip?
I mean,
What do you mean?
Well, the city, the public works charges, right?
public works is
Oh,
in charge of
for the cost
For
to,
the cleaning, for the mowing.
yeah, that's separate and apart from code enforcement. If they abate the violation or abate the nuisance, that's technically a special assessment, so that has nothing to do with code enforcement fines. Those are just costs that are recovered.
I mean, just once they comply with the cutting of the grass, and the fees would stop, the fine would stop.
Yeah, and then as an effect, right, they actually cure the violation, so they do the person a favor, and the fine stop running.
Maybe we can give them a 7-day period to try to do it and give them notice. How fast would you give them? Today's Tuesday, so if we give them a 7-day notice to cut their grass, how fast do you give them the actual notice?
Well, I could give it to them tomorrow.
Okay, so before you call out, or is 7 days too much for the grass? I mean, it really needs to be cut.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
So I don't know, maybe we can give them a few days to give them that notice, and maybe they can get with it and have the grass cut.
I don't think a few days is enough.
Well, so you started him under maintenance of property, which includes grass. Even if you mow the grass, it's still a maintenance of property issue.
Right, he still has other issues. I
And you can
guess
still,
my idea
I would
was,
say that you can still do a daily fine for maintenance of property, even if it's grass, even if the grass gets cut.
that is true.
We got fines going on all the other stuff,
No, not all of them.
For
The cars and the-
permits
and the wood,
and-
right?
And operable vehicles.
The vehicles,
And the
There's
shed,
one for the inoperable vehicles, and then there's one for work without a permit,
that's the shed,
right? Or whatever that is, yes.
whatever he was gonna build.
well, he said he was building some type of building, like a
He
shed.
cleaned, he took the one shed down, right?
Yeah, the old one that was falling apart.
Prior to that, he had.
He had a container
He
back
had that
there.
big container, yeah.
You had an ocean container sitting in the backyard.
It took forever to get him to remove that.
Yeah. He was gonna remodel the house and put the stuff from inside the house.
Then you have windows in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the maintenance is, you're talking the overgrown yard, I mean, if we got stuff running, what are we talking about?
Well, we're not gonna meet until, 30-something days from now. So if we give them, let's say, 7-10 days to cut the grass, and then a fine if they haven't cut it in 10 days.
Like I said, I'm gonna refer it to Public Works, and however long it takes them to get there, that I don't know.
Right.
We are getting complaints on it, so that's why I decided to bring it here.
All right, so it might not be a good idea to delay public works.
Yeah.
Besides, it's not only the grass, it's maintenance of the property.
The main issue is the grass.
Okay. Does somebody have a motion?
John, do you have a motion? A motion from that side? John, you're not gonna make a motion?
I'm still a little confused with what, I mean, if we give him 7 days to cut the grass, that's $100 a day, then when he cuts it, what happens?
Yeah, it'll stop.
That's what I mean, or then the city goes,
Well, it's not just cutting the
Well,
grass.
yeah.
What's the terminology of the citation? It's
Maintenance of
violation
property.
of maintenance of property.
so the city goes and then it stops.
But if they go and they cut the grass, yeah, I
Was
would.
the ticket you issued for grass?
Mhm.
Well, the ticket was issued for grass.
That's what I'm asking. What was the ticket issue?
It's under maintenance of properties but it's for the grass.
Okay. And we still have the other ones running as well, for the car and that, whatever that.
All right,
thing
I'll
is.
make a motion to, we give him 7 days to cut the grass, if not, it's $100 a day fine. Until it's cut or the city or whatever, however that works.
Okay.
So after a week's time, until, let's say, next Wednesday.
Oh, well, you can revert the fine. You want to start, revert it back till today or tomorrow. I mean, 7 days from tomorrow, if he doesn't mow it, then now the fine's gonna, you want to go backwards.
Okay, so what I have is a motion to grant them 7 days, which you said you wanted to start tomorrow. So until December the 9th, which is next Wednesday.
Right.
If the grass is not cut by December the 9th, then a retroactive fine will start at $100 a day,
On the second,
and the fine will start on the 2nd.
right.
Give me 1 second.
So what happens if the city cuts the grass? It's still fine? That's what's not clear to me.
If the
Well,
city,
no, I mean, if the city cuts it within those 7 days, I'm not gonna find anything else.
And if they find them after, then you would charge them whatever they were in violation after the 7 days. And then if they come into violation again, you can bring them in front of the board again, and then it'll be a repeat violation.
I mean, can they just issue one fine now?
What is it? How do you cite them? Through the notice of violation or through a citation?
A citation,
So a citation is an immediate one-time fine,
right?
right? And then they didn't appeal it, so you brought it back here to see what, daily penalties?
Or can it be just a one-time fine instead of a daily? I mean, I don't know.
If you're getting an order for a one-time fine, sure, that's fine. I mean, citation is more like a parking ticket, you know, so you could just, one day there's a violation, one day there's not, you just inundate them with tickets, and they could appeal it or not, but each is a one-time fine.
So essentially, the board can issue a one-time ticket and not a daily fine.
I think it's-
I thought we
Or a
could,
one-time
I
fine.
thought we couldn't exceed the ticket price.
Yeah, for,
On a per day fine, no?
yeah, for the per diem, I think that for the citation, it mirrors whatever is if the fine is in the citation. So if you hit them for $50, then the board would say, okay, the violation still exists. It's gonna be $50 till they come into compliance. I think, I'll confirm, but I think that's the way the code is written. So if you just want to do a one-time fine, you're really just looking for an order affirming the citation, just for that one amount, whatever the citation was. How much was it?
A citation, I don't know, maybe like 100.
Okay.
And how do we protect ourselves and enable the code enforcement officers to go back and see the situation and you would have to give another citation?
Yeah, if they don't have what they can't do is, if there's a running fine for an existing violation, they cannot,
Issue another citation for that?
right, they can't overlap or double.
But how do we formulate this motion? It'll be a limited amount of, we're giving him a fine and a number of days to comply?
You're just affirming, the citation for, I'm sorry, $100?
100, I gave him 100.
A one-time fine of $100. Now, it's an order, but there's no per diem fine. The citation's affirmed, they failed to appeal it. And, I guess could be recorded, should they fail to pay that, technically it's
Yeah, the finance department will.
you can certify it, right? You can record it as a lien. That's really the only purpose of going to the board, to get the order.
So we can do
We can't
$100 a
record
day, we can do a $700 fine.
No.
You just want a 100, they already have a ticket for $100, so why would we do a fine for $100?
No, we'll do a daily fine.
Well, it depends, I'm trying to gauge which way how you want to handle it.
I want them to be able, this is gonna be a repeat violator, I want the code enforcement officers to be able to go and issue another, we have a choice. We're either gonna fine them on a daily basis until they come into compliance, and then that matter stops, and then they could go back and issue another citation and be brought up again at the board, and we can start the whole process again and again and again.
If it's a one-time fine, you issue them a ticket.
Which they
because-
have already.
Right.
Here now.
Right, Rosemary has issued that.
So you just basically are getting an order, so that one-time fine could perhaps be recorded as a lien. maybe.
That doesn't make any sense. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
That doesn't bring anything to their attention. They're not
This is
listening
gonna
anyway.
continue.
but the reason why you're doing that is because now they're already, the next time it would be a repeat offense. And then maybe you could do a daily fine. if
A
you
higher daily fine
Right,
than what we
because-
can do now.
Because if you do it if you do it on this initial case, you're not gonna go, you're capped at
Up to
250.
250.
But if they tag them for a ticket for $100, and that case is set in stone, Dylan, here's an order, they could record that ticket for $100. They could tag them again for a repeat violation up to $500. And then all of a sudden, when they come back for you, you say, okay, we're gonna issue per diem fines up to $500.
Or we could do a daily fine right now for an amount and just let it.
Whatever the ticket is. Yeah, but there's a lot of options.
Rosemary, did they pay the ticket?
All right, so what's the biggest fine we can get right this month?
$250 per day.
$250 a day?
Yes.
It's, let me look at the civil.
No, I mean a one-time fine.
Oh,
Oh,
the one-time.
If it's
fine is-
$100,
is
that
the
doesn't make
basic
any
ticket.
sense.
It's only the same as
That's
$100.
correct.
So we can't say if the mowed, if the yard isn't mowed in 7 days, it's $250 fine, period. Then she calls Public Works and they come mow and then he pays for that. We can't do that.
This, the maximum civil penalty for, you're talking about a one-time, well, you already issued the ticket, so.
I issued a ticket,
Yeah.
can they give them a one-time fine of, let's say, $250?
So it's a ticket plus,
A fine.
Right,
and it ends.
right.
I don't think that's anywhere in the ordinance.
I thought we couldn't find a price of the ticket or something for the fine. The price of-
It says that,
I can go out there every time I see it and give them
Well,
a
I'm just saying,
$100
you give them
ticket.
you give them 7 days, mows it. Let's just say mows it, and that's it. It's $100 fine, ticket.
But he hasn't even paid the fine.
So if he doesn't mow it in 7 days, it's gonna be 700. Or until this Public Works goes and mows it.
Right. And I don't know how long that's gonna take, it depends on how busy they are, there's a lot.
Usually how long does it take them? Couple days.
Well, it depends. I mean, yeah, sometimes they do it in 3 days, sometimes they do it in 10 days. It depends on how busy they are. So,
Just saying, if we give them a fine, in other words, if we give them 7 days, and then the city goes out there, then basically, the Public Works saves them. Did you know what I'm saying?
Well, honestly, these people shouldn't be given any time. So we're going, they should really, there's no reason to, we should start a fine today. They're not here, they're they have other matters. Whether this qualifies for a repeat offender or not, we can fine them up to $250. But
Not on
we
this.
see black, I know that, but we see the black and white of what's going on here.
Okay, so if we do $100 a day fine until it's mowed, period. And then when the city mows it, whether it's 3 days or 10 days,
right, yeah.
what about that?
it
So
says,
starting today, $100 fine until they mow it?
Until they come into compliance.
Right.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
city's gonna have
rather
to
than
mow
send
it.
it to the city, she's gonna call the Public Works, say the city Public Works, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Public Works will come and look at
It
the
might
ground.
take them 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, 8 days.
Yeah, I don't know how long it'll
Okay,
take.
you wanna change?
Yes, so I have starting today, December the 1st, to begin a $100 daily fine until they come into compliance.
Correct. And then she's gonna call Public Works. So eventually it's gonna come into compliance.
Okay. Do I have a second?
oh, I see.
I'll second.
Okay, so just to clarify, the motion is to start today, a $100 daily fine until they come into compliance with the maintenance of property for the grass. Board Member Figueira?
Aye.
Board Member Corey?
Aye.
Board Member Martinez Reguera?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the motion again?
Starting today, $100 a day fine until they come into compliance with the maintenance of property for the grass. So a fine will begin today of $100 until the grass is cut.
Aye.
Board Member Bangston?
Aye.
Chair Jimenez?
Aye.
So the next case is complied. Do you want me to go over it or no?
No.
I can't believe that. A rental ordinance. I never knew that. I thought we did.
Okay, board, this is case 6 on the agenda, case number 20-1776, property address 490 Pinecrest Drive, violation 15104, application for building permit number city ordinance. On July 30th, based on a complaint, I performed an inspection of the property and found a new fence was being built with required permits. I issued a civil infraction and until August 13th of 2020 to apply for a permit. This property is a repeat offender of work without permits. The previous work without permits case number was 171288, heard in front of the Board of Code Compliance on September 5th, 2017. I wanted to give you that information. On September 17th, I issued a ticket, number 477, the amount of 100. I sent it via regular and certified mail. It hadn't complied. On October 24th, the property was still in violation. I sent it to speak with the property owner by knocking on the door and calling all the numbers we have on file. I wasn't successful. On November 18th, I prepared the summons to appear, sent it via regular and certified mail and through MSPD. On December 1st, I updated the photos. So this is the fence that was being built. The wood fence was the old fence, and the metal posts that you see there are the new posts for the metal fence that was going to be installed. That's the south side of the property. So they face Pinecrest, and this home is on Palmetto. And that's a fresh cement that has been poured. This is the fence now. It's very badly built. As you can see, the posts are a lot taller than the fence, which is a 6-foot fence. And look how crooked it goes throughout the property line. And it's a pretty lengthy fence. And they're not here today, and they haven't made any contact with me, and I've had other issues with them. They've never made contact with me. How long is that?
And they're there, they come in and out of that house, I pass by there on a daily basis.
What was your question, bro?
How long has that been up?
It's been since July of this year, 2020.
And in the back, they've cemented everything, they've done a lot of work in the back as well. You can see it through that fence, that dilapidated wood fence. If you look through there, all of that is cemented in.
I was just there today I thought they had illegally dumped.
And they illegally dump, not only do they illegally dump, but they illegally dump across the street from where they live.
Yes,
By
I
the
was
way.
there today, but it wasn't, I found a home on Oakwood that was dumping there.
Well, these people dump right across from their little driveway on the
Yeah,
side.
I know exactly,
on the
that's
Palmetto.
exactly where they dumped today.
And they
but it wasn't-
and they bring construction debris, by the way, is what they're dumping, because I've seen them do it.
I've looked through the garbage several times. This is the first time I was able to find evidence of an address that I could pinpoint in Miami Springs. Because I've never been so lucky as to catch them as they're dumping.
Right.
And, if I don't see it, if it's on camera, I can't really say that they're the ones doing it.
And they're not putting it on
And
their
I've spoken to
swale.
the neighbor and he refuses to say.
They're putting it on the neighbors of the other house, the other corner house,
Yes.
swale. There's a big hole there from all the dumping that they do there.
Public Works has been working with me and they inform me every time they do it. And today I looked through the garbage for like 15 minutes, so I finally found somebody to pinpoint this particular dump. But that's not being discussed today.
Okay, so we gotta start a motion. This is a first time, this address.
No, as I said before, it was the second time. They were heard in front of the board, same owner, in 2017. They hadn't closed the garage.
What was the outcome of that?
The case is in compliance currently with the order of the board pending payment of the ticket. So they got a permit for it and it was closed. They just never paid for the ticket.
They never did what?
They never paid for the ticket.
$100 ticket.
It was, I believe it was $100. I wasn't the officer who took them to the board, it was Officer Taveras
Notice.
at the time.
Hello?
I'm Mr. John, thinking that maybe we should give them a little bit of time to pull a permit. There's no reason for them to have 30 days to pull a fence permit.
We're thinking 3 days, we have the holidays.
Yeah, I know we have the holidays, but they know better.
Well, since July, I haven't heard from many of them, and I've been in contact, I've tried to be in contact with them for the dumping, there was once a boat on the swale.
That's correct.
I've tried to be in contact with them about this. I've never had the pleasure of speaking to anybody in that property. I've knocked on the door with vehicles out on the driveway and nobody's opened the door. I've identified myself.
Commercial vehicle problems as well, by the way, something else you can keep an eye out with that.
I can send them another notice. I don't know if an order from you guys, if you give them time, I don't know if they'll comply.
Why don't you go this month and tell them that you're Santa Claus, maybe they'll answer.
My beard isn't white enough.
Did you see them putting the poles in?
I didn't see them put the poles in, but when I received the complaint, I arrived and I saw that they had put the poles.
It's not their neighbors in the back. It wasn't that.
They have the same fence going down Palmetto.
The neighbor?
No, then.
The owner
So
of the
adjacent
property.
to the sidewalk. And this is the south side of it, so that's the rear yard, that their property line is adjacent to the neighbor who faces Palmetto. So the front,
They don't have an alley, they don't have an alley,
that portion
they're
there
abutting
is
the
the front
property.
yard of the neighbor.
Oh,
They
this,
have no space in the back.
that's the yard of the neighbor.
That's the front yard of the neighbor, and that fence is fencing the rear yard or the rear
Right.
property line of their house on 490.
So when they dump garbage, they really should be putting something on their swale, but they don't. They go across the street and dump it on the neighbor's swale.
And since you guys asked, I did look up the minutes from the last meeting that they were at. They were granted 90 days to submit a permit, but with no date defined attached to it.
Yeah, that's why we started touching base on it.
But did they come into the compliance, at least from the notes that I read? Lourdes marked them as compliant and the payment of the ticket.
I wonder if they.
At the time, somebody did show up. Somebody did show up to that meeting, because I read the minutes.
The property owner showed up today.
In 17,
Which we were
here.
And similar thing happened where I know at the time, the rest couldn't get a hold of him. And I think on the minutes, if I'm mistaken, the property owner says that he doesn't live there and his brother lives there. And that he wasn't receiving the correspondence, which is not an excuse because he's putting the mailing address to go to this property when he could have easily had the mailing address to go to the property where he does reside. And he still hasn't done it in 3 years.
I don't really think that they deserve 30 days.
No, they really don't.
Okay, so
But I don't want anybody coming back and saying that we're not getting people time and we're after money, because for the record, that's not what we're after.
we need to come up with a solution for all these cases because it's.
And I don't like having,
Extensions.
I not only do, I mean, this is out of control, but I don't like the code enforcement officers having to go back and babysit every case that we have going on. Once we we need to like find them
And go to the next one.
and orders need to be filed and if they see other violations on the property, then they could, go after that. But this is crazy.
I just don't like the fact that they don't show up.
They don't show up.
Because they know that nothing's gonna happen.
Well, guess
If
what?
they would at least show up, we would have a little bit more compassion, but they're not even showing up, so that, to me, that's
Disrespectful.
disrespecting us, so. That's why, we should be strict with the people that don't show up. The people that show up,
We work with them, and we always
we'll
have.
work with them, we'll give them
All the
time.
years that I've been here, we've worked with people.
But when you don't show up, I'm sorry, that's, unless they would have called you and they would give you an explanation why they can't show up. Anything could happen at the last minute, but at least they'll call. If they call and they say, I can't make the meeting tonight, please excuse myself, I'll try to make it next time. Then that's a different story, but when they don't even contact you, they don't even show up, it's unfortunate, but, the only way we can get their attention is to throw a harsh fine. That's just my opinion.
You're entitled to it. I'm gonna make a motion that we start a fine today, for $150 a day until they get a permit issued.
And we go $150?
Yeah,
And go up to $250.
For,
You can go up to 500, right?
this is up to 500 because it's a repeat
oh,
violation.
since it's a repeat violation.
We're gonna put it at $150 a day is my motion. If the board doesn't like it, we can decline my motion. But I think $150 a day starting today until they get their permit issued. Hopefully gets their attention. And maybe, when you do send them whatever you're sending, remind them that they still have another ticket that they haven't paid.
So that should be leaned already.
Whoever,
Because the finance department, after a certain amount of time has passed,
they issue.
they issue 2 invoices, I believe, and then a final invoice.
Right,
And after that final invoice, they leave.
okay, all right,
So that should be leaned already.
gotcha.
Perfect, the property.
So I have a motion to start a daily fine today, December the 1st, until they get an issued permit.
That's $150.
I'll second.
So the second is Board Member Figueira. So let me go through the roll. Board Member Figueira.
Aye.
Board Member Corey.
Aye.
Board Member Martinez Figueira.
Aye.
Board Member Bangston.
Aye.
Chair Jimenez.
Aye.
That passes.
We'll move on to case 7, and that's case 181 in your packet. This is case number 202114, property address 531 Lee Drive, and it's a violation of section 9313, minutes of property by owner. On September 23rd, I received a complaint regarding the state of disrepair of the property. They told me that on Zillow.com, I could see photos of the state of the interior of the house. I looked and observed that in some areas of the house, the roof has completely collapsed. The property, it's definitely unsafe. I don't think it's occupiable at this point. So on October 7th, I did a thorough inspection of the property, and I issued a civil infraction notice, requesting the following corrective action. Apply for a permit to repair and replace the roof that had collapsed. Maintain the property landscape, mow the grass below 6 inches, open all awnings, and pressure wash and maintain the driveway clean and presentable. I granted 30 days. On November 18th, I prepared the summons to appear, and I issued a ticket. I sent it via regular and certified mail. On November 30th, I received all the mail that I had sent as undeliverable. I have it here on my file. And then today I updated the photo. So let's see on October 7th how the property looks. The grass is very high. It looks like they've had many tarps on the roof that has now been falling off. Some of the awnings are shuttered, are down, which is a violation of this code, particularly for some reason. That's the side of the yard. A lot of debris here as well. That's the interior. These photos are from Zillow. The property is for sale. That's the interior of the home. And then that's the area where the roof completely collapsed.
Wow.
This is today, they mowed the grass. So I was able to get a hold, not to the owner directly, but to the owner through somebody that found out that they were gonna be heard in front of the board today. So I'm guessing that's why the grass was mowed. That person told me that they would be here today. They obviously are not here, and they haven't reached out to me. Everything in the house is still the same, except of course the grass was mowed in the rear and in the front. But you can see, somebody was there, the gate was closed now, before it was open.
How did you get this picture of the interior?
Zion.
Through Zillow.com, the house is listed for sale at the moment.
It's for sale, it's with the realtor.
So they posted those photographs of the home. And you can see on some of my pictures of the the fascia is in very bad condition, and there's a portion where you can see there's a hole in the roof.
If a hurricane comes, the debris that's gonna fly off of that house is.
So you can tell that just by looking from the exterior, this is the park, the public park, the bridge that's adjacent to the property. So I was able to get some really good shots on the side.
So this is a first offender?
Yes,
Okay, so the maximum we could do is $250 a day, and we could start today.
Wow, the house is horrible.
Things just develop.
I know, the collapse.
Very scary.
Like the hurricane season's over.
Yeah.
just the neighbors, the one person that called me, I would have never seen that unless they would have brought that to my attention. Because from the exterior, I've issued tickets before for grabs, and there was somebody that was living there up to maybe a couple of months ago that was maintaining the house, okay, in a workable condition. But after they left, it shows how when people are now occupying the property, it really.
But that
Well,
roof
with that
falling in
condition.
like that, it's not from one day to another.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roof was probably leaking, they were probably getting rained on, and who knows what else is going on.
But it's vacant now. And for some reason, I get back just like Rosemary, it's not a vacant, it's vacant because nobody's living there, but it's returning undeliverable to return to center. It doesn't say that the home is vacant, so I don't know why that's happening.
But there is a realtor involved, and there is a sale going on.
I believe I even emailed the realtor because I found the realtor's email online, and I emailed them the notice because I had received the notice back and it's undeliverable. So I know nobody had read it. Nobody knew that I had a case of it. So I did try doing that, even though that's not really something we're required to do. But then nobody emailed me back.
Okay. Well, we have to,
Sale for $278,000. So what'll happen is when we issue a daily fine here, they'll come back and ask for a reduction.
What it's listed on.
278, they're selling it for.
Zillow.
Well, that's just, I think they're listing it there, but I'm pretty sure it's probably on Realtor.com and on the MLS.
Rick said that's right.
And supposedly it has a pending contract.
Oh, that's good.
Well, if it has a pending contract, we better start this fast.
No, it's gonna start today. Yeah, I suggest that it starts today.
Okay, guys. Let's go with a motion.
Maybe it's the first time.
Yes.
This is the first time, yes. Up to 250.
So I motion to, $150 a day until they come into compliance.
With the corrective actions that I listed.
That is correct. Starting today, yes.
1 second. Okay, so I have a motion to find them, starting today, $150 a day until they come into compliance with the Code of Compliance Officer's, corrective actions. Or
9313, section 9313.
section 9313 for maintenance of property. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Board Member Fergata,
Aye.
Board Member Corey,
All right.
Board Member Martinez Reguera,
Aye.
Board Member Bangston,
Aye.
Chair Jimenez.
Aye. Wow.
And just as a reminder, I know I mentioned it earlier, the next meeting is scheduled for January the 5th. Location is not confirmed yet, but I will let you guys know as soon as we find out.
So just calling you and calling you and calling you.
And I think that's,
Is it? Nothing else? Nobody has anything?
Do we have a new liaison for our board, or who's our liaison?
I can check who the liaison is and get back to you in an email with that. Actually, Let me see, I have it here.
Yeah, the Zapata's no longer.
I don't have it written down here, but I can find out and send you an email with who our liaison is for this specific board.
Okay, got it? The meeting is adjourned. It's 9 o'clock.
Thank you, board. Thank you.